Alright guys, welcome to the video. We're going to be looking at my 3-mark game with the Blesk. This is the tier 8 new light tank that has this insane machine gun on it. It is Czech. And this vehicle is very strong if you play it wisely, right? It's basically the tier 5 Leopard at tier 8, except you have like another 125 shells in the rounds in the magazine, right? And if you play this thing properly, and maybe you get a little bit lucky like I did in this game, you're going to play it very, very well, right? Like, it just has the potential to do lots of burst damage in a very short amount of time if you're given the opportunity to do so. The issue is finding the opportunities to do so. So we're going to be on Empire's border, and this tank, man, I will not lie to you guys, I should have 3-marked this tank 60, 70 battles ago. I made a couple mistakes. I got all the way up to like 93.5%, then like 94%, and then I messed up on Muravanka. I tried to get too aggressive, thinking I would get the mark, and then I messed up. And then it would go for another 10 battles. I would get like, you know, Abby, I wouldn't get enough, and then I would get like, I don't know, Prokhorovka, and then my team would be garbage. So I'm ripping apart the AP AMX here. Of course, we don't do that much to him. We do 501. You think like with all that burst, you'd be doing like 1,000, but it just doesn't work like that unless you truly get someone's like side plate perfectly. And unfortunately, we just didn't get that. Now, on this map, there was a game that I played maybe 10 battles before this where there were 2 heavy tanks that poked up right here, and I was able to just absolutely unload a clip. I think it was like a Progetto or something like that, 66 or something like that. I did like 1,200 damage to him, and like even actually a little bit less to the other heavy tank, but I did like 2k damage just from sitting here for like 2 minutes, right? So like if you get the opportunities to use this gun, it's going to work really, really, really well. And in this situation, we're able to hit the AMX, the Conway a little bit. We're doing a little bit of damage, and I'm just holding this line. I like to hold this line because I'm on full screen again, but it's all right. I will stop drawing after this. But what happens here is like you'll get contested maybe here, and you'll get contested maybe here. By the red team, right? I like to try and hold this line. Like if I'm not in a light tank going out to this area of the map, I like to try and hold this line by just putting my gun here. Because if you're not going to be that contested, then that means that you stay winning this hill, right? You hold this hill, and this hill, in my opinion, is very important to hold. This is like the G4-ish area, whatever you want to call that, GH4. I love winning this area of the map and just holding it. Again, I put my gun here, so I'm able to contest this and this at the same time, and I feel like that's very, very effective at kind of winning the good part of the map, right? So that's why I really like to hold this corner. I just have to emphasize that to you guys so you understand why I think it's so important to put my gun here. Now, again, if you get lucky and you get people that are running up like this, you know, and you have someone else here to kind of keep them busy, you could absolutely obliterate people that are pushing like this. So I just never think it's a good idea for enemies to push up this way, especially if you have teammates here and there's someone here, right? Like, maybe if they have really good armor, they can hold this corner and they'd be better off, but pushing up like this is just, in my opinion, erroneous. Like, unless you have a really powerful tank and you have people behind you that can, and you can kind of win this area of the map. Like, you want mediums to be pushing it, not heavies, because they're too slow. And if you get here, you'll rip a heavy apart, right? If they're not quick with their reaction timing. So S1 is in the back here. Blesk is also sitting here. I am just, again, playing this very safe. I want my stupid 3-mark. I've been playing this tank. Like, it's not hard to 3-mark this thing right now because it only requires you to get like a little over 2,400 combined. At the time of this video, you can see Blesk is trying to poke me here. I turned to HE immediately. He makes a mistake by trying to poke me again, and like, dude, I have HE loaded, you have AP. This is a big mistake, and we're able to just obliterate this guy off the map. 1569 damage there, and that's why you have to load HE if you're ever playing against a Blesk or something. You can pen with the HE. Like, always run the HE, man. You're going to be better off as long as the tank has absolutely no armor. Again, it's only like 37 millimeters of penetration, but it's worth it because you do literally twice the damage. So Conway here, I'm not even going to bother with the HE. I'm just going to rip him apart with the AP. It would be, I don't think we would have enough pen to hit the convoy. Maybe in like a certain part of the turret, but I think the convoy has a little bit more armor than like the FE 4005, if I'm not mistaken. I think it actually does have some armor, so I just don't think it would be enough. Now BZ is giving me his backside. We're going to try and tear into this guy. We're able to get him there, clean him up, and we're at 2,300 damage, 466 assists. And now I'm just going to burn through this building. If I take a shot from the Conway, it's like, it is what it is, but I'd like to just destroy the cover so that people behind me can get shots, and I want to keep pushing in, right? The Conqueror's back here, but I'm yelling for help, like, dude, come help me. The 430 down here, the 705, can take care of the Conqueror. I want the 430's help. I want him to come this way with me, but he kind of just stayed back there, and I'm like, help me, guys. Like, at least, like, the CS maybe goes in a little bit, or, like, just help me here. Like, understand what I'm doing, and this way the team can kind of, like, at least support me a little bit, but is what it is, man, you know. Ripping apart the TVP here, I am just going to clean this clip out, like, clean, you know what I mean? Because I don't want to leave, like, 10 shells in the magazine, so I'm going to just take a shot from the TVP there and run away. But this is why I wanted to ask for help, right? Because now the Char is pushing into me, right? Finally, you know, 430 is here and 705 is pushing in, so they were able to clean up the Conqueror in time. But I needed the support in case these guys yielded into me, and that's what they decided to do. And now we can just rip apart the Char here. If I take a shot from him, like, it is what it is. This game's pretty much over. Pull back behind cover, let these boys clean up the Char Fooder. 705 maybe. There we go. And then I'm going to advance. But yeah, I find that, like, I'd almost rather just take a shot in this vehicle and completely empty the clip into somebody. Because what I find is, like, it's usually worth it. I've played this tank for almost 200 battles, and I find it to be worth it just to take a shot from someone that might do... Luckily, the TVP had AP loaded, but, like, even if it's, like, a third of my HP, I'd rather just completely unload the clip and take a shot, because you have the potential on a tank, like... the TVP, like, I'm shooting TVP, I did 538 damage to him. So I feel like the trade is worth it towards the end game. Not at the beginning of the game, but towards the end game, I always feel like it's worth it. So I ended up 3-marking this tank with 4,400 combined in this game. The win rate was also off the charts, but to be expected when you do this much damage. And I don't think this enemy team was great, right? Like, again, that's why I always say, it requires a little bit of luck, at least for me. Some people are that skilled, they can 3-mark tanks, you know, easily. But for me, this is a little bit of a challenge. Even with the combined of only about 2,400 and some change, I still found it somewhat difficult to 3-mark this tank. I was at 94% for the longest time, like right around that area. And again, I just kept making mistakes. Like, I would play really good games and then have, like, terrible matchmaking where it'd be like a 15-2 stomp on Abby and I'd only get like 900 combined or something. And then finally I would be at like 94.2 or 3%. I got Prokhorovka. I remember I got I say Prokhorovka, but I have to try and pronounce things correctly, otherwise people are gonna, like, make comments. You don't pronounce this correctly, like, I swear, man. But I'm on Proc, and I had such a bad team. I was literally, if you guys know the dip on Proc, that crater, I was on the enemy side of the dip, sitting in the bush line, kind of moving myself back and forth as enemies were passing by me to go after the rest of my team. And I was just staying there to try and get as much spotting damage as I could from my teammates. Like, I'm literally, like, in the front lines, you know, like behind enemy lines, I guess you can say. As these guys are pushing in, and I'm just sitting there like, please, somebody shoot these people, shoot these people. And I couldn't get it on Proc, and then it's just like a rinse and repeat. You play another 10 games, and you're just not quite doing enough. You're getting maps that aren't great, or you're making a mistake or two, and you just can't quite get it, but you're still hovering at that 94%. And I swear, I should have 3-marked this tank, guys, in like a little over 100 battles. I played like 80-something battles on Sunday, and I just kept going back and forth between like 93.5 to like 94.5%. And then finally, I got on yesterday morning, Monday morning, and I played a game before this where I did like 4,500 combined, insane amount of damage, and then I played this game and I did over 4,000 combined and got the mark like that. It's just insane to me how much the matchmaking, like, nothing changed. I just woke up the next morning and boom, we had 2 games where we probably did, within those 2 games, 10k combined within those 2 games, easy. And got the mark like that. It's just so insane to me how much the matchmaking can kind of play into you marking a vehicle. And if you cannot 3 mark vehicles, guys, you have to adjust to the games better. And I'm just not that good at that. But that's what I want to emphasize to you guys in this video. You have to adjust to the games. You have to be able to make these adjustments on the fly and try and get as much combined as you can. And sometimes, very rarely, but sometimes it requires that you have to be selfish. Hate to say it, but like on Prokhorovka, when I'm sitting in the middle of the bush line watching enemies drive around me, I think that's the least selfish play that I can make. And so you just have to figure out what the best play is for you to get the most combined. And it can really be a tricky thing to do. So I also was running this thing, by the way, with CVS, Bounty Low Noise Exhaust, Bounty Optics, and the optical calibration. I didn't need to run this setup for this map, but I just decided to. I'm not sure why. My other setup is like vents and VSTAB and whatever else. But I find that I really like running the my scouting setup now on most light tanks. Actually, I'm really on all my lights 8 and above on pretty much every map. Because I just find sometimes it pays off, right? It's like I find that this is better than running a more aggressive setup where your chances of lighting someone through a bush or something like that, even if it's like Abby in the center, right? I'd rather have the CVS so that I can possibly light someone on the other end of the bush line there, like the bushes in the middle of Abby, and it pays off, right? If you can outspot someone, I just always feel like it pays off to be able to outspot people. So that's why I have actually been running this setup quite a bit more. I also hardly ever fired, this is just a tip for you guys, I don't think I've ever fired anything of the APCRs. Like, I have never switched to the APCRs. I just don't think it's worth it because you do more damage with the APs. Like, I only have a few of these clips in case it comes down to a game carrying situation where I need to pen. But I think I've used, in the 200 battles I've played, maybe like 10 battles have I even used one clip of this, so, or magazine of that. So just keep that in mind. Utilize the HE, utilize the AP, guys, but definitely utilize the HE. Whenever you can pen something with HE reliably, use the HE. I'm talking all like Su-130, RHM, Waffle Panzer, all those. Use them, FE 4005 even, you can do it. Maybe Gorilla 15, like, use the HE because you do literally twice the damage. Borisk, shoot the turrets. Blesk, shoot the whole tank, like just light tanks that you know you can pen, like Hawk 30 and stuff like that. Just freaking shoot the HE because you're going to do twice as much damage with that clip, and that's really going to help your combined score. Let's get a look at the emplates, guys, and I will let you go because this has been a pretty long video. 3,800 damage in this game, 600 assist. Again, with the 3 mark, we got it. And at this time, this was what it was for 95%, 2430. That's all you needed. That's all you needed. A lot of light tanks at this tier are more close to the 100% with this vehicle. Because it's new, this is just the way the marks work. Usually when new tanks come out like this, the mark is low and then goes up. At least that's what I've found. And by the way, again, in my last video that I showed you in the Borisk, with the 2 mark Borisk game, my win rate was at 46% at like 100 battles, and I almost 3 marked this vehicle with a 46% win rate, 46.5%. And then I ended up getting it all the way back up to 51% over those next 100 battles, and we eventually 3 marked it. So, like, I'm telling you, man, win rate is just, I feel like win rate is almost an overrated statistic. I think it definitely will balance out eventually, but I have some tanks, like the Chrysler GF, for example. I've played this thing very well, I feel like much better than a lot of people, and I have a 41% win rate in this vehicle. It's just like some tanks, man, I swear, like, I don't know what it is, you just get like really bad luck in them. And you can call it a skill issue, but like, I don't think I should have a 46% win rate when I've nearly 3 marked the Blesk. Like, it just doesn't, something doesn't add up there. It doesn't make sense, right? Um, and you can even say like, oh, well, Whirls, you're just padding your stats. And it's like, not really, man. Like, sometimes I play like that. But when trying to 3 mark this thing, I have not played it like that. Again, I've played very selfish or selflessly, trying to get a lot of spotting for my team, and often using my HP to go after tanks when other people won't, right? Like, trying to push in because I know I have the burst damage. And like, still, man, I had a 46% win rate in this tank um, at around, I don't know, 93, 94 battles. So like it took me 100 battles. We went from a 46% win rate to a 51% win rate, and then I three-marked this tank. But again, like I told you guys, I was hovering at 94% for probably at least 80 battles, because that's how many battles I played on Sunday. So I don't know what else to say about this, guys. I know this video is so long, but I just have to um, like reiterate some of these things. Like, it is just wild to me how the game works and how matchmaking works, and how literally you can be trying to get a 3 mark for 80 battles, and then the next morning you get on, play 2 battles, and you get it. And it's just like the weirdest thing to me, man. Um, just like the luck and the matchmaking, and it's just anyway. That's it, guys. That's it. I'm gonna let you guys go. Just show you this real quick. 3,800 damage. I think we had a pretty good team here as well. Um, and here you go. Here's the detailed report, and I'm out. I'm done with the Blesk. I will probably play this tank again um, after the hype for it is over. And look at 95.01%, by the way. We cut it by just 0.1%, 1/100ths of a percent, right? But once everyone is done spamming this tank in the matchmaking, I will probably play it again, because I actually really, really enjoy playing the Blesk. And I think I will also work my way up to the tier 9, the Selma or whatever it's called. I'll be playing that. I think I would like to 3-mark the T50. Oddly enough, the tier 5 T50, that's going to be my next thing that I'm going to mark. And I'm also going to upload the session that I just did over this weekend in that tank right now when I'm done with this video. So I will see you guys for the next one. Keep an eye open for the T50 session. And also, I think important to note in this video, because this is so long, I'd like to just get everything out. I am going to be going on vacation for like a week and a half, so you might not see me for a little while, and I will post something on YouTube as well, just saying I'm going on vacation, but I'm going to try and have a few videos prepared for you, prepared for you guys throughout that gap of time that I'm not going to be home. See you for the next one. Take care. Bye-bye.